You're going to hate me for saying this, but Atari was a little bit before my time, so it wasn't anything that I was playing. And if I'm to be completely honest, I do feel like it was more of a marketing thing for Atari to not actually succeed, specifically with the Atari Jaguar, because I was browsing the actual game list. There's not very many of them. There's like under 100 video games. However, it does seem like there are some pretty fun games on that. However, really quick, I do want to say I am not a news channel. I'm just a guy sharing stuff like a friend would. So if you do not like the more conversational style of content, then I am not the channel to watch, and that is perfectly fine. There is an absolute buttload of stuff to go over today that I found really, really interesting. As you can see, as I browse through like 50 different tabs here, however, they're pretty short, simple things to go over. So it's not like it's going to overwhelm you. There's a bunch of updates for emulators. There's a bunch of like little cool looking handhelds. No idea why I have my Twitter page open, but definitely go and follow me on Twitter for reasons I doubt I need to explain. So Atari Gamestation Go Handheld goes for pre-order. Retrobat boasts 200 plus games and a unique physical control. So the reason I wanted to share this, dude, is because look, I know that this is going to cause an uproar and a bunch of negativity with what I'm about to say, but the Super Nintendo Mini and the Sega Genesis Mini were a joke. They weren't good, okay? I know that they were fun. I know that they had some games on them, but dude, they were literally not even a Raspberry Pi, but they were a little Raspberry Pi with a couple handful of games tossed in and running on an emulator that wasn't even 1080p. It was like 720p, dude. So, like, can you imagine this? And I've said this multiple times to a bunch of people throughout my period of being alive since a little kid. Can you imagine a Sega Genesis or a Sega Mega Drive being re-released with better audio? Just better audio, not even upscaled, nothing, just better audio. I mean, obviously, I would love it to be upscaled with a CRT filter because, look, 4K monitor, 4K TV. The problem with the 4K specifically is the older like 240p and 480p, it doesn't scale correctly to 4K displays, and it looks terrible. So I want to show you guys this right here. Whoa there, buddy, relax with your super duper loud video game. I did find a Mario Kart type of game on the Atari Jaguar specifically. There's also okay, the shooters on that, dude. Okay, because I went down the rabbit hole of playing the games on that. But I don't obviously I'm not gonna like sit here for 40 hours and go over all that. Um, but there is like when you browse on the little emulation consoles that you can grab on Amazon and stuff, which I've made multiple videos on. Um, when you're browsing through these, you like it plays the video game music, and like as you'll see the video, and then it'll like play what the actual game is that you're listening to. But dude, this is really really cool, and for this, it actually does have a display out as well. I'm pretty sure. Did I scroll by it? It might have already been on screen. But this is going to have a relax there, bud. This is going to have a display out, and it's going to be 4K. So this is such a cool. Um, it's Joe Biden mouth right there. My apologies. It's really cool to see something like this because it was before my time. 200 games. We're not talking about a potato amount of games like Super Nintendo's little mini console and the Sega Genesis little mini console. We're talking about 200 games, dude, on a handheld that did I not okay, that was all the images on a handheld that are upscaled and can be display features. Okay. Let me see this really quick. I'm pretty sure it has display out. 200 plus games, high resolution display, rechargeable battery, and everyone's like, "How are you reading that?" Your boy's got like eagle eyes. I'm able to I'm able to uh I don't know what I can't think of anything funny to say. So I'm able to read it. Game serve option. Connect to TV via HDMI right here. It's at the very bottom. Ready? Oh man, that's Maximum Zoom. I know it's all miscombobulated, but anyways, I just wanted to share that, dude. That's super cool that they're going to be releasing this because this is old. Like this is before my time. I grew up in the 90s with the Super Nintendo and stuff. So this right here, I seemingly opened it twice. Sega Dreamcast gets a brand new game in 2025. Look at that. That looks sick, dude. That looks super cool. It reminds me of that it's not a comic book game, but it's a what is that game? It's like a I forget the name of. Leave a comment. It's not a comic book game, but it's a really violent video game. I can't remember the name of it, but dude, that looks cool. Ninjas are fun, cool. Ninjas are cool. Ninja Gaiden. What's the Messenger? That's like basically Ninja Gaiden remade into modern day. And what's the PS2 Ninja game? What's that? The PS2 Ninja game there. What is that called? I Ninja was a really cool one. There's actually a bunch of Samurai Jack games on the Game Boy Advance. I've really been getting into the Game Boy Advance lately. There's the Dragon Ball Z Goku's Revenge, and then yeah, so Dragon Ball Z. There's two of them on the Legacy of Goku and then the Legacy of Goku 2. The first one isn't that good. Like the controls are kind of all miscombobulated. It's still a fun game, but the second one, super cool. So let's go ahead and play this really quick here so that you can kind of get an idea of what this is going to be like. 16:9 aspect ratio. Does that not look cool? Because I mean, it doesn't have the 3D world like the one that I'm thinking of, but it's black. The one that I'm thinking of is all black and white. It's really, really violent. It got tons of negativity when it came out because apparently people think video games cause violence. But either way, man, it's just really neat to see people remaking stuff like this. The homebrew scene is really cool, and there's a lot of effort that's put into that kind of stuff. So this right here, Ayaneo's Konker Pocket fits or point blank is it hit a record in sales. I don't know why I can't pronounce this section right here. It hit a record in sales, and because of that, the lower price is going to remain a lower price. How many companies do you know that do that? Zero. All right, so I wanted to share this, dude, because that alone means that I'm going to be supporting Ayaneo 100% from now on. Like Ann Bernick has pretty much been my go-to, just because they've made some really good feeling, like the RG35XX is still my favorite handheld, because it feels so good. It's got a super bright Game Boy Advance screen. The battery in it lasts a decent amount of time. The buttons feel incredible. But with a company that's doing something like this, man, that's such a wonderful thing to do for people that support them. It's like, oh hey, our launch price is dirt cheap. Or well, it's not dirt cheap, but I mean it's like $200, right? I'm pretty sure it's like 200. Yeah, so the Snapdragon Gen 3 version is $239. The Snapdragon 8 Elite powered version is $269. And then there should be one that's like a little under 200, right? Or maybe I'm thinking of a different console, maybe. But either way, it's very affordable for what you get, because those two chips are extremely powerful, dude. So the RAM and storage will start at 8 gigabytes and 128 gigabytes for the two handhelds, but max out at 16 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage for the standard version, while the Pocket Fit Elite is going to have 24 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. So yeah, dude, definitely go and support Ayaneo. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do this, but like just support them. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on YouTube, and just they're a good company, man, doing something like that. So yeah, Miyoo Mini Flip Colors revealed. I actually have a Miyoo Mini. It's a little bit too small. They sent it to me to review a while back. It is a little bit too small. I'll show you. I gotta find it here. Hang on a second there. Here it is. I got so many of them, but it is a little bit too small. I'll show you the size of it. It's whatever. It's a tiny little fella. I mean, it does come in a cool little pouch. Would you come out and you see? It's like it's literally the size of my finger. It's super tiny. It's a little bit too small, but it's still. I mean, the screen on it looks incredible. I don't ever use it because I have my Embernic RG355 in there, and that fella is a boost. I love it. It's my favorite. That thing is so clutch over there. I put all my little gadgets in it. Um, but anyways, look at that. That's like the flip Game Boy Advance. And it's probably more of a nostalgia thing that I like this kind of stuff. Like, cause I grew up in the era, like so there wasn't very many Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color games that I played, but I do remember playing a few of them where you had to like, so my buddy Evan, he was super big into Pokemon growing up, and like my babysitter, my buddy Evan, my buddy Josh, my buddy Will, and then Zach, like those four people, we would like, so me and Josh were always playing the Super Nintendo and the Sega Dreamcast. We were always playing the console, but Evan was super big into the Game Boy Color. And I had a Game Boy Color for a little bit, but it wasn't really anything because I had the Super Nintendo. So I was like, I was a Super Nintendo freak. I loved it. And dude, like when I was we had a family reunion, right? When I was younger. And there was this like tent where there was a bunch of stuff for sale. And you'd go buy like raffles and to enter whatever was in there, right? And there was a Nintendo, like an old Nintendo, the original NES, right? And I want to say probably like 50 or 60 games. Dude, my mom let me buy like a bajillion raffles. Oh my goodness. And raffle tickets. And I actually won that thing. That was my beginning into entrepreneur. There was a marble game that was fun, Marble Madness. It was fun as hell. But a lot of the games, dude, like it wasn't a really good NES. Like I had to blow on the cartridges so many times, and it actually was a little bit irritating. So this right here, but anyways, my point being is I won that, dude, like an NES with like 50 games. And then like I had a yard sale, like a yard sale. So like I sold like probably like 30 or 40 games that I didn't like because I wasn't I'm still not. I'm trying to get into the RGB or RPG scene, but dude, I can't. The turn-based combat is just it's not my thing. So like the only RPGs that I'm really like enjoying is stuff like The Illusion of Gaia, Zelda, even though people say that or whatever, Zelda Ocarina of Time, which wasn't even my thing when I was a kid. Um Secret of Evermore as well. But dude, the vibe. I don't understand why they don't allow that. There was a fan made project for the I'm getting so off topic, but there was a fan made project for Secret of Evermore. It was like a re-release for PC, kind of like I do have it open, right? I know there's a Mario, yeah, right here. So we're gonna go over that in a second. But yeah, so it was a PC like update for Secret of Evermore. It looks so fun, and I'm so upset that they wouldn't allow them to re-release it. But either way, I've never been big on the turn-based stuff. It's like I can't get into the Final Fantasy games because it's just I don't know. It's what I don't want to say Secret of Mana is another one that I've been getting into. That's definitely not because that's an action RPG as well. But I just anyways, the turn-based RPGs I've just never been able to get into. But either way, this right here, if you don't want to install RetroArch and use cheat codes like I do with this game, then you can patch the actual game. Dude, but dude, this game is so hard. It is so hard. Like even with cheat codes, even with cheat codes, dude, this game is so hard. So the new Super Nintendo ROM hacks aim to make the Super Star Wars trilogy a whole lot fairer. I'm pretty sure that this was just barely released with the romhacking.net website. They hold like this monthly ROM hacking thing. And so yeah, that's really all I need to say about this. So this right here, this is actually something I just barely discovered. Probably, or well, I've known about this stuff for a really long time. But for those of you that aren't aware of what an FPGA is, basically what these are is it's not modded old consoles. It's like a restoration of the actual console. So like if you have a really old Super Nintendo and it's like it stops working, you can basically buy the motherboard and you can like update it so that it actually starts working again. You can update or you can just build it on your own. So basically it's just like it like if you want a Super Nintendo, you can buy this like all the stuff and build it yourself, which is pretty cool. I think at least is pretty cool. So, oh my god, do you remember the screen they had for this? The little mini PS1, they had a little like flip screen. They did it with the PS2 as well, but that was for the they had like a car PS2. Dude, look at how clean the new ones look. That's so sick. Tacky Udon. What do they make? Oh, I'm totally following him. But yeah, there's a huge Xbox list as well. But either way, look at that. That's a clean PS1. I think that looks nice. What one would you get? I'd get the black one. They actually have a black PS1 that they released to devs back in the day. Actually, Linus made a video with it. So this right here, Sega resurrects its old blast processing, quote unquote, Genesis TV ad to fire shots at Mario Kart World. I just think that this is funny. Do you remember back in the day, Sega Genesis does what Nintendo don't? I miss Sega, dude. Cause the Sega, dude. So the thing is with the Sega Genesis, I can't. This is like I will absolutely get copyrighted if I play too long of that. But the relax. The problem is, dude, is like the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, like the Sega Genesis has aged so much better as far as like resolution goes because the field of view is wider. Whereas um the Super Nintendo, the field of view is it's smaller and your character's bigger, which I hate. I don't like it. I like to have the bigger field of view with a smaller character so that I can see more. I like that. That's kind of why I use the there's it's called BeastNS HD. BeastNS HD beta. I'll show you real quick. Hang on. Because I have a recording of it from the other day. So this is a Super Mario gameplay. So this is using the whoa there. Why are you lagging? Or do I have like a memory problem? I'm not gonna play what the frick. Well, I apparently need to update my media player. Holy moly, that's kind of freaking me out because I'm recording right now. I got like a few different recordings. 36 temperature, nothing's overheating. I don't have no updates. Well, either way, media player, apparently you need to update that. Appreciate you Windows needing to friggin' break my computer all the time. This right here, 8-bit. I'm gonna close all this stuff. Oh, maybe it's because I have so many tabs open. My memory's cooking. That might be it, right? My memories probably could literally have like 50 different tabs in Google Chrome open. Plus, I got like 3 different recording softwares going right now. But anyways, I have 64 gigabyte. I don't know, dude. I don't know why that media player, but it freaking me out either way. So 8-bit dudes Nintendo 64 controller keeps getting better, and I just found one for a really good price on Amazon. I'm not gonna click it. It's an affiliate link, and it is whatever AliExpress. I'll never buy anything from AliExpress. But either way, there's not many controllers, especially with like handhelds. There is one now. There is a handheld. It was designed for Sega Genesis, but it also works really, really well for Nintendo 64 as well. But they didn't frigging put a joystick. The geniuses, you know. Unfortunately, it would have cost them like 10 cents more, so I get it, but either way. This is just a really cool controller. Wanted to share it because there's not really any, unless you get an actual Nintendo 64 controller. Yeah, there's nothing out there. So this right here, you just can't recreate that glow, quote unquote, the people who hunt old TVs. So I just discovered that. Thank you for the person that left a comment on this, because I was talking about this the other day. Like, why are not CRT TVs available? Wait, that definitely did not make sense the way I said that. Why aren't CRTVs available anymore? Like, why can't you just go buy them? I get it, they're big giant behemoths, but the problem is like, the reason I was talking about that specifically is because if you like Paramount Plus, Prime Video, Disney, all these like streaming services that are like, if you want to go back and watch your older content, like obviously you're not in RetroArch to where you can put a shader on your video game, but there's a Steam application. It's called Shader Glass, and basically it's a it's a it's an or I don't want to say it's an app, but I mean I guess it kind of is an app. But basically it's a video game, I guess. And it adds like a TV, and it actually like goes over whatever you're using in. I got to show you this. Shader Glass Steam. So I'm going to show you this right here. Please. So this is what see how it's like transparent. Can you see that? See what I mean? So you can do that like with everything. It's super cool. And like it's got all, so RetroArch. So if you like RetroArch shaders, they have a RetroArch folder for what people use in RetroArch. Then they got community one. So yeah, dude, that's a super cool little application on Steam. But either way, that's really all I wanted to say about this one. They have the Sony one. They got all kinds of stuff. And we'll look at that one. They made for the hospital ones are the best one. They have like ones from the hospital. They're super expensive though, because they were designed to like be playing all day, like the news and stuff. But these little tiny ones, like the VHS ones, that reminds me of the one I had when I was a kid. I had a little 12-inch VHS one in my bedroom when I was a kid. So this right here is a Super Mario Brother Remastered open source fan project that brings an impressive remake to PC. So they have a video. It's basically a ROM hack, but it's not, you don't need to install an emulator and all the stuff that emulators apparently require. You basically download this from the GitHub page, and then he has a video showing you how to do it. And like literally the most potato computer ever can run it. But basically what you do is you download this, and then you need the original ROM, and then you literally just drop it. Literally just drop it on this game. You load up the app from it, and then it like pops up the application, and then you take the ROM and you literally just drop it. It's super easy to do. So this right here, I know this ain't retro, but this is cool. Yoshi's the shiznits. It's the only way I can think to explain what I want to say. Yoshi's Island, or not? Yeah, Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo. That was such a fun. The baby Mario crying was annoying as hell. But either way, we haven't had a Yoshi game in like what, dude? Like Yoshi's Yarn. Isn't that like the last time Yoshi had a dedicated video game? It was like Yoshi's Yarn, right? Yeah, Yoshi's Yarn. That's pretty much it. But I think it's just a Yoshi's platformer type game. I'll show you real quick. Nintendo. Oh, actually, nope. Not for this video. I'm not getting no $5 million lawsuit for sharing a freaking footage of Yoshi. I'm not for this one. Peter Cooley's Pico Pal is a Raspberry Pi RP235OB. Epic, really not short or not long name right there. However, just cool. That's really all I need to say about this Raspberry Pi handheld that he ended up making. I think that the modding scene and people doing this kind of stuff is really, really cool, that people are like smart enough to do this. But that's really all I need to say. It's kind of like the FPG scene or FPGA scene that I just barely discovered. This right here is E5 Ultra. It's an unusual retro gaming handheld that launches with PS2 and Nintendo GameCube emulations, and it has the joysticks that you're actually going to need for it. Whoa, oh my goodness. It actually has joysticks. They actually paid the extra 10 cents to make it useful. But yeah, dude, that's really all I need to say about this. Like I said at the very beginning, there's a lot of really short stuff. Has 6 gigabytes of RAM. It's got a 720p display, which is more than enough for this. It is 16:9, by the way. I'm pretty sure it says. I mean, you can tell just by looking at it. Actually, you can tell just by looking at 16:9 aspect ratio. So your GameCube games and PS2 games that support that are actually going to run. And there is more stuff on this, but for reasons I doubt I need to explain. However, there's the Kin Hank, which. What is this one? I don't. Yeah, okay, I know what it. Yeah, Amazon. I really don't. I mean, I don't buy anything from AliExpress or Alibaba, dude. I'm not putting my information. I know it's probably pretty safe at this point, but I'm not willing to do that. So this right here is just something I was unaware of. I was aware of Mario's most recent birthday or whatever. Mario's anniversary, I guess is what you can say, which is why that Super Nintendo or Super Mario Brothers 3 game was actually created, because Nintendo didn't do anything. I mean, I guess they released that Yoshi game, but I was really hoping for a Super Mario Maker at the Nintendo Direct, the third. That's still one of my favorite games, dude. I know the Wii U was pretty bad. Like, they didn't really have much, but that, dude, Super Mario Maker it's still one of my favorite games. It's literally the only Super Nintendo game that, like, I always want to go back and play. Like, I always want to go back and play Super Mario World, like, always. But I don't know what it is about that game. But it's so imaginative and creative and trippy, and like, it's such a weird, like, Nintendo always does that. Like, I mean, just think about me saying this. A plumber that eats mushrooms can eat flowers, can eat a feather that can fly. The fireball makes him spit fireballs. The mushroom makes him bigger. He jumps on turtles. He goes down dude, it's such a weird, like, dude, the guy that the only way you can think to explain who created that video game, he had to have been tripping when he created. He had to have been tripping when they made that video game, dude. It's so crazy. But either way, celebrating it with upscaling trees. It's a mod for the PlayStation 1. And then there's a retro tink, I think is what it's called, where you basically take these and plug them into this, like, it's like a retro tank. It's like this thing right here. And then it outputs the display to a better resolution. And it's also faster. There's a YouTube channel, Retro RGB, that makes a lot of videos on that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's really all I need to say about this one. As you can see, that I don't even know what that one is. For under 30, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't buy. The cheap ones are not worth it. You're just going to waste money. So this right here. So anyways, the Retro Tank website, they do have cheaper options. I'll show you. Retro Tank. They do. Oh wow, it went right to it. They have this one is super expensive, but they really like work hard on their products. They don't just release a bunch of garbage for people. The one that most people recommend is it the 2X? Yeah, I think it's the 2X is the one that most people recommend here. I mean, they have cheaper options as well, like this one. But this would only work for certain TVs, obviously. Is this the one right here? Does this have? No, it doesn't have HD. But either way, RetroTink, they are more expensive, but the cheaper ones are not worth it. You're going to get tons of delay and stuff. Like, RetroTink really aims to remove that delay, I guess. So this right here, retro game, it really does, man. It seems like retro gaming is making such a big comeback, and I honestly I know people are going to hate me for saying this, dude, but I genuinely feel like it's because of the retro game consoles, what Amazon sellers call them. I really feel like that's why, like all the plug and play consoles, all the retro handhelds, and then with how terrible modern day gaming has become and how much of a ripoff it has become and how unfun all the modern day video games have become. I know that I'm not saying that all new video games are bad, but the majority of video games, dude, they've lost their simplicity. Like they've we need the most amount of weapons, the most amount of armor, the most amount of abilities, the most amount of this, the most amount of that. We need a 5 million mile radius open world for infinite exploration with 50 different characters that all do 100 different things. And it's like, bro, not all of us want to sit down in front of a computer screen and play a video game for 7 million hours in order to get one thing that we want. It's because Destiny really, it was like the first game that I like fell in love with. Like obviously modern game. The older stuff. I've always enjoyed retro gaming, but like for a newer AAA game, Destiny, the original, not Destiny 2, the original Destiny. That was like one of the first games I fell in love with. And I do feel like a big reason of that was the community aspect, and that it was one of the first games that brought like that open world RPG looter shooter with the like chat, like the chat, like where you'd be running around the world and there would be chat. And it wasn't like I'm not talking about like World of Warcraft. It's just either way, I'm sure you guys all know what Destiny is. It's like it's an alien world exploration looter shooter type game from the creators of Halo. And it was really one of the first games that modern games that I fell in love with. And what I just barely said, where you have to play the game for 7 million hours in order to get one thing, the Gallahorn. First you had to level up your character, then you had to do a raid, well, you didn't have to do the raid, but my point being is it was a very rare item and everybody wanted that item. And some people got lucky and got it pretty quick, but dude, that game was like, there was people that probably played that game for like 4 or 5 hours, like streamers playing that game for 4 or 5 hours, like every single day for like multiple years until they actually got that thing. So like it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's such an overcomplicated video game where you need to go to YouTube and watch a bunch of tutorials in order how to figure out how to play the video game, you know? So yeah. So anyways, I got way off topic there. So anyway, my point being is the retro video game making the comeback. I really do feel like it's more of a and then on top of the stuff being sold on Amazon where the actual world is, I'm not going to get into politics or anything because I'm the least political person and I don't know enough about it. I've never voted for a president. Don't care who's president. They don't do anything for me. Just don't care. Um, so, but it's obviously it's impossible to avoid. It's thrown in your face. You open up YouTube, all your stuff is thrown in your face. You open up Google, it's thrown in your face. So it's just kind of obvious that the world is in a very negative state right now. And it's pretty obvious that a lot of people are struggling right now. And there's a massive divide in people that have a lot of money and people that do not have a lot of money. So I think that the reason is because 2% of people are actually able to live comfortably, and then 98 or like it's a stupid. You can Google it, it's like 80% the amount of people that are struggling, and then it's like whatever, it's like 18% middle class, and there's like 2% at the very top. It's such a divide, man. So like all these people are probably like they're like they go to work, come home, do their bills and go to bed because they're working like, if not 2 jobs, at least 1.5 jobs, or they're working 1 job plus having a side hustle, or they're on they're on welfare. So like all these people, they don't have time to play new games, you know, even if they love them. So yeah, dude, this is just cool. There's a lot of Lego stuff. There's a Sega Genesis Lego set right now. There's a retro Lego video game. There's a bunch of them out right now. I'm just gonna go to images. Set. So there's an Atari Lego. There's Pac-Man Lego, the Nintendo 64 Lego, Game Boy. There is a Sega Genesis one too. I was such an idiot, and I actually thought that you could use the controller, but we covered that the other day. So anyways, this right here, a Nintendo Switch emulator just barely popped up on the Google Play Store. This is the... I'm trying to think of the name if I can remember it without even looking at the article. It's totally their website is totally my vibe. The pink and blue theme that I always use. And the reason I use the pink and blue theme in my videos is because it brings back the memories from the 90s, like the rave parties and like going to like the bowling alleys with all the lights and stuff, and the arcades with all the lights and stuff. It was always pink and blue. Eden, frick, dude. I couldn't think of it. I was trying to think of it. But if you go to their website, I'll show you. It's totally my vibe. Switch. All right, here we go. There we go. Like, look at their website. It's super cool looking. Is that not cool? Is that not cool looking? I think it's sick looking. But either way, it's on the Google Play Store, so you know it's a safe emulator. They're not trying to screw you, like a lot of people do. All right, so that's really all I need to say. That's literally all I need to say about this. And then this right here, there's a huge list of indie games that are available in Xbox new buy one, get 2 free sale. That is going to be live next week. And this is like literally 3 days away, 4 days away now. So if you've been looking to get some newer modern games for indie games specifically, because this, honestly, man, it's really the only type of games that I like at this point. Like Hollow Knight Silk Song, I can't believe they actually released that. I'm so happy they released that game for $20. I hope that the rest of the gaming scene takes note of what happened there. But that, again, that's really all I need. That's a short one. I don't need to say much more about that. This right here is just insane. $4 million Pokemon. So the Pokemon's most famous card ended up selling for $4 million. That's insane, dude. I actually have a buddy that I built a few computers for his business down in Manchester. He actually, also collectible tags. Oh, he even has a website now. There's my buddy. I've built a few computers for him. So he opened up a Pokemon. Oh, no. Did he shut down? Where's his Instagram? Because I know he'll have a bunch of stuff on. No, he does still have it. So this is his shop. Am I not logged? Where the frick's his thing right here? So this is what I'm talking about. If you've been on the PC channel, you remember me going and building the computer with him. And then going and this is the aftermath. But either way, they have a YouTube channel as well. But he's the first Pokemon shop in New Hampshire, which I think is pretty cool. But either way, that's a little bit down the rabbit hole. But yeah, it's called collectible tags and stuff. So he does this. He like buys Pokemon's cards and sells them on it's some like seller. I don't remember the name of it. There's a lot of like retro game flippers that use it. Wish? No, that's not it. I mean, it's not eBay, but it's a bidding thing. I don't do it, so I have no idea what it is. But this right here, early 2000s, it was, look how much that's gone up. That's nuts, dude. What the frick? What? That's really all I need to say about this, though. That is just wild. That's bonkers. So this right here, there's just a RPCS3 update for the emulator. The Windows update, appreciate you. It's probably what's happening, why I wasn't able to show you the Super Mario gameplay there, is I mean, I've showed it to you guys multiple times, but it's a BSNES HD beta emulator is what that was. Anyways, this is there's an update for RPCS3 because Windows broke the emulator, not like for virus stuff, but yeah, just update it. So this right here, there's an update for Retrobat. This is the V7.4. This is like the emulators and cores. This is what ended up getting changed and updated fixes. I've actually been having I gotta update the PS2 emulator on the Kinhank 12 terabyte drive because it's an out of date PCSX2, and that this where the for those of you that are unaware, and there was a bug with that PS2 emulator where if you had more than one monitor going, like there was times where it would like scale into the other monitor. And then also Retrobat is on that Kinhank drive. It's not Yuzu's fault and it's not a Yuzu problem, but in the Retrobat settings on that, there's it's set to 1080 or it's set to 720p 1080. And for those of you that aren't aware of what I'm talking about right now, there's on in Yuzu, like when you're upscaling the game, which is literally the entire purpose of having that. When you try to upscale it in the emulator, it's default 720p 1080p, which what that means is 720p is when you undock it, and then 1080p is like when you dock it, which you can select that on the actual emulator. So like I upscale it to 4K and 6K or 4K and 8K. I don't really know what the second one is. But yeah, so when you would set it and then you'd be browsing and like launch a game, it would be like 720p or 1080p. And like, so what you have to do is you have to go into the Retrobat settings and click that. Yeah. So anyways, point being is there was that update for Retrobat. I don't know why I went down that little hole. Developers of Sega Saturn FPGA core refutes claim that it's 100% hardware accurate. This has been an awesome feature that has taken several years work. Thank you. So this is literally, I'm really new to this kind of stuff. The Mr. FPGA, this is really all new to me. So I don't want to like misinform people of anything, but for the Saturn FPGA core refutes claim. I don't even know what that word means. Refutes. I'll be real with you guys. I don't even know. Refute. Prove a statement or theory to be wrong or false. Okay, so refutes claim that it's 100% hardware accurate. So basically, this has been an awesome feature that's taken several years. That's not entirely true. It's still far from complete accuracy. All right, I don't remember why I opened that, but that's going to bring us to the end of the video, man. That's it. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I literally said it at the very beginning. I know this was much longer than it needs to be, dude, but I'm just trying to create content that I would watch personally. I'm sick of watching news anchors. I'm sick of watching journalists. I'm sick of everybody copying and pasting one another. I'm sick of people using AI to make their videos. I'm sick of people using AI to script their videos. I'm sick of people using 11 Labs to clone their voice and not have a face on camera. And I'm just sick of it, dude. All right. Like, I'm just sick of it, period. And I'm just trying to create content that I personally want to watch and that I do watch. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Woo, I'm out of breath.